Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It has been a very long time since I've posted anything on YouTube, so this is very exciting. So, let's get right into it. In March, I went on a conference. Conference doesn't even justify where I went. I went to Devon for this health wellness conference run by my mentors that I'm sure I've mentioned before, Deb Beck and Lou. And it was also sort of co-run by Dr. Rani Bora and Denise Holland. So they were all the speakers in the conference. Anyways, it was amazing. And I can put the link below this video as well if you want to check that out, because they have a sort of annual conference. It's every year in March. So whenever you're listening to this video, the Dare to Be You team would have made a conference in March and will be making another one in the next March. But yeah, so off the back of that conference, there was a space that opened up for me to open up my own sort of group, my own sort of thing here in London, kind of closer to home, if you will, because that's all in North Devon, so it's quite a while, quite away from where I am, which is London. So if any of you are listening, and you live in London, then I started a London WhatsApp group entitled "Staying in the Conversation," and so that's what these videos are all about. My entire YouTube channel is about staying in the conversation. And what that is if you've listened to any of my videos, then you'll know that what I talk about is a spiritual understanding, is this inside out understanding that we work from the inside out, that there's more to that meets the eye. There's more to life, there's more to us that we can see. There's a bigger thing going on. And so one of the biggest things I kind of got a deep insight on is staying in this conversation. And that can kind of sound a bit elusive or confusing. What does that mean? What is this conversation? And I think in simple terms, what it means is to remind yourself, for me, to remind myself of the miracle that I am, that we all are, that we all underpinning all this life that happens out there, underpinning, we are a miracle, we are a gift, and we came here on purpose as spiritual beings to have a human experience. And so when we're here in the mix of this human experience, we forget that. We stumble and trip on all these circumstances. We stumble and trip and we fall, and we get lost amidst being human. We get lost in that. And being human isn't the bad thing. It's not a bad thing, because it's who we are. It's what we're doing. We're here. We've got, likes and dislikes, and it's who we came to be. We came to fully play out and be human, because it's fun, and that's what I've uncovered. And that's what makes sense to me. But you might uncover something else, and we're here to find our purpose. We're here to, have a job. We're here to do this. We're here to do that. But for me, genuinely deep, like something deep within me, I know for me that I came here as a spiritual being. I came here on purpose to have a human experience, and I came here to have fun. I didn't come here to struggle and suffer. And so what staying in the conversation means to me is staying with that truth, staying with those firm foundations. Now, I don't know much about architecture and building a house. I know that a building of any sort needs to have a firm foundation. That if it doesn't have that foundation put out first, the house could just crumble, because that You can't just build a house on mud. It needs to have a firm foundation. And so for me, my knowing that I'm that spiritual being, that I'm the allness of everything, and so are you, that all of us, we are this oneness energy. We are part of a bigger picture. All of us. We're all we're all connected and we're part of this bigger picture. That is the foundation that I stand on. That is the foundation, the firm, strong foundation that holds me up, that allows me to get out of bed in the morning, that allows me to put on these calls and show up in the way that I do, to wake something up in you, for the place in you that is me, that connection where we're connected, for me to speak to that place in you. And as much as it sounds like I talk in riddles half the time, when you know, you know. And once you know, you cannot unknow. There is a space inside of you that is me, that is connected, because we cannot be separated. This divinity behind life, this energy that lives us, that lives through us and gives us these words that we have as human beings, these feelings, like we feel vibes, we feel energy, we feel this connection when we meet somebody, when we fall in love, when we hold our baby for the first time, when we're with our parents, like we feel that energy, we feel that connection, that there is something bigger than just being human. Because if we were just human and it was just that, that's it, that's all we are, there's nothing else. We live, we study, we work, we die. That's life, that's being human, and there's nothing more to it. The human race wouldn't last as long as it's been lasting. If it were true that outside circumstances and people and places and things could really genuinely damage us, like really damage us, like at our foundation, that could chip away and break our foundation. If that was true, then the human race wouldn't still be here today, because that foundation would have been wiped, and that would have wiped out the human race. And what I mean by that is that sort of a light-hearted analogy would be that if the rain really upset you, it was true that the rain could cause upset and really cause you to feel a certain way, then the world, every time it rained, the world would be upset. And months and weeks where it's just raining non-stop, we would be so upset to the point of extinction, because that emotional pain is so strong, and it can cause great depression. So kind of, it is a very sort of out there metaphor. So try, if the words aren't working for you, just leave it. But if they are, then hold on and kind of try and stay with me. So it's like, if seeing that the rain can't actually kill you, that the rain hasn't killed you, no matter how much it can annoy you, that you feel like, oh, I don't like the rain because when it's raining I get wet, it delays my journey. London is not set up for any kind of extreme weathers. So when we get extreme rain in the UK, then yeah, it does affect your day-to-day life. But intrinsically in that rain isn't sadness, isn't frustration, isn't anger. It's just rain. And so when we make that connection, when we wake up our senses to the awareness that rain is just rain, then it's almost like we've zoomed out and we can see, hang on a minute, there's a bigger picture here. There's something more at play. If rain can just be rain, rain isn't good, rain isn't bad, it's just rain. So knowing that and opening our awareness to that really does set that foundation. It sets that strong, firm foundation in the knowing that we can trust in life, that we can trust that the fact that the human race has lived for, I don't know, thousands or billions of years. We need to do some scientific research. But anyways, we're in 2024, like 2024. I remember not even being in the year 2000. I remember people saying the world's going to end in the year 2000. And then they said it again in the year 2012. And now we're here in 2024. Like, in my mind, in my human world, that sounds like the future. And so it makes me question. And it's my evidence that everything I talk about, my firm foundations that I stand on, is true. Is that it is so 100% true all of the time, that nothing on the outside world can put a feeling into you, can cause you to feel some type of way. It's just not possible. And that's not to say that you're not going to be human and experience human emotions, because that's not the point. We're here, as I said at the beginning of this, we're here on purpose to have a human experience. Now, when you're having a human experience, there's other people say things, there's preferences, and there are moments where one person can say something and another person cannot like what that person has said. And all of that is part of being human. But what this conversation does is it wakes up to the special effects. It wakes up to what's going on behind the scenes. And like, what's going on behind the scenes is that one person says something through the filter of their thinking, through what their perception of reality, for what looks real to them, what looks true to them. Their insecurities, their fear, whatever's going on for them, that's where their words are coming out. Then the person who hears that thing is hearing it from their filters, from their perception of reality, from their fears, from their insecurities, from what looks real and true to them. And so when we waken our awareness, our senses, our self, our heart, our soul to this behind the scenes, these like special effects that's going on, what happens is a window, a door, a flourish of compassion comes in. Like, I heard someone talk about the difference between empathy and compassion, and to empathize, and I actually didn't know this until recently, but to empathize is to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, is to genuinely feel what they are feeling. And I mean, I knew that's what empathy was, but the way this person described it, I can't remember who, was that, so if somebody's suffering and feeling sad, in order to empathize with them, we need to also suffer and feel sad. So whatever they're going through in their world, in their perception, their reality, whatever's going on for them, we have to go to that level of consciousness. We have to sink. It's almost like we have to shrink ourselves in order to feel what they are feeling so we can empathize. And that isn't going to serve the greater consciousness, that oneness energy that we're all part of. That isn't going to serve that. That isn't going to help. So what is helpful is compassion. And the difference between compassion and empathy is, with compassion, you can see that the person is suffering, but you can also see that that person doesn't need fixing. That person is okay. They have a foundation underneath. That foundation is there. They just can't see it or feel it or believe it, but it's still there. It doesn't go anywhere. So it's like the sun behind the clouds. It hasn't gone anywhere. So this person who is suffering and feeling sad, they're feeling it via the gift of their thinking, through the filters of their thinking, their perception of reality. What whatever is going on for them, they're suffering and they're sad. And so from the next person, the onlooker can see that awareness. Like, okay, so that person is feeling, they're feeling their thinking in that moment. But I know that that person doesn't need fixing. I know that person's okay. And that's where compassion, it's like, I have just saying this, I feel this deep sense of peace and compassion. Like, it feels like holding a newborn baby. And I don't know how else to describe it but that, but I'm sure there's many of you that can relate. Holding a newborn baby for the first time, or, you know, even the 10th time, just that pure love and just peace. That's what compassion feels like so what this conversation has done for me, it's allowed me to see that people aren't broken and they don't need fixing. Because since I was 12 years old, I wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to help people. I wanted to help people not be broken. I wanted to fix people. You know, I was like, I saw so much suffering in the world, and I wanted to change that. And I still do, but from a very different space, from a very different place. I do want to be in service and I do want to help people, but from a space that I know nobody actually needs help. Nobody is broken, because whatever emotions we're feeling, angry, triggered, sad, frustrated, emotional, whatever's going on in the world of being human, it's all normal. All of the erratic, neurotic, whatever the emotions are, you know, overwhelmed, devastated, anxious, scared, frightened, all of these emotions are human emotions and they're perfectly normal. And what psychology has sort of innocently and accidentally done is made it seem like that these emotions need to be controlled. You know, they need to let's control the negative emotions. Let's get them sort of on a leash. Let's find some coping strategies. If you're feeling sad, take 10 breaths. If you're feeling angry, punch a pillow. And it's like all of these things, like if this and if that and if this and if that. If you're feeling angry, you're feeling your thinking. That's all that's happening. It takes away the pressure of being human. Knowing this, knowing that we work from the inside out, that there's more to life than meets the eye, it takes away the pressure from being human. That you can literally have any emotion, any human emotion, and know that you're working perfectly fine. You can know that 1 minute you can be happy and laughing, and then you get a thought, you have a memory, a colour, you see a colour and it reminds you of something from the past. You see a reminder pop up on your phone and it reminds you of something you need to do in the future. So you get anxious, you get sad, you get depressed, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up and you're fine again. Like, this roller coaster of emotions is just being human. That's it. And when we come back to that and we stay in that conversation, we stay with those firm foundations that we are whole and complete no matter what, that we are always and always 100% of the time feeling our thinking moment to moment. We come back to those foundations, then we come back to the fact that we're here to have fun, because then all the pressure is lifted off. You know, you don't have to hold it together for your kids. You don't have to be happy and smiley all the time. You don't have to have your life together all the time in order to be a functioning adult or a functioning teenager. Like, being human is everything. It's all of it. It's happiness and sadness and everything in between. It's excitement and overwhelm and frustration. And everything in between. It's all of it. You could be having the best day ever or the worst day ever, and you're still functioning perfectly fine. You're just a bit asleep to the behind the scenes. When you're watching a movie, you don't know how they done those special effects. So it looks really, really real, and it can look really, really scary and feel really, really scary. And being human can look and feel the same. It looks very, very real, and it looks very, very scary. But when we zoom out to what's really happening, it can just relax everything. It can just humble you and bring you back to that state of peace, which is your natural state. Which is why this conversation and the idea of compassion brings me back to a newborn baby, because a newborn baby doesn't have a complex. A newborn baby doesn't have any thinking on, oh, what if they hear me cry, or if they see me cry, oh, I've been crying for an hour, what are they going to think of me? Even a 2-year-old, they don't think, oh, I was crying for 30 minutes and now I'm giggling. What are they going to think of me? Oh, and now I'm crying again. Today I've cried 5 times. A 2-year-old isn't going to be thinking that. They're not, they don't. They really don't. It's not until about, 6, 7, 8 that we start getting an opinion. We start criticizing ourselves. And that's really what happens. We criticize ourselves, we judge ourselves, oh, this doesn't look quite right, my hair's not right, my face isn't right, my body's not right, my clothes aren't right, this looks weird, that looks funny, that's a bit odd. And because we've got all this self-judgment on us, those are the filters that we're looking through. That's what our reality looks like. Like everybody's judging us and everybody's criticizing us because we're looking through the filters of criticism and judgment. And we are our worst critic. We will judge ourselves so harshly. Just think to a time like when your friend or your family member, brother, sister, child, mum, if they were in need of help or love or support, and they said to you, oh, this happened and this happened, da, 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 and they're talking about stuff that happened and, what they did and what the people said, you're not going to criticize them or judge them the way you would yourself. You're not going to say, oh, put yourself together, you should know better by now. You're not going to talk like that. You're not going to say, oh, you're such an idiot. Why did you do that? You're going to say, oh, it sounds like, you're going through a really tough time. Like, what can I do to help? Or you'd offer advice, or you'd offer a hug, or whatever it is your wisdom speaks to you in that moment. But for ourselves, we shout at our kids, or we drop a plate for the 5th time that week because we're having a really stressful week. And we have a go at ourselves. It's usually inaudible to everybody else, and it's just up here. Oh, you're such an idiot. You always do this. Why are you doing this? You're so terrible. You're a terrible mum. You're a terrible this. You're a terrible that. And we criticize ourselves so harshly. Nobody else is criticizing us as much as we are. So the minute we stop, and in fact, I truly believe if everybody, the entire world simultaneously overnight, stopped criticizing themselves and started showing themselves a little, just, a fraction bit more compassion, the universal consciousness, that oneness, there would be a massive shift. And there has already been a massive shift. Within the past 4 years, between the pandemic and now, there's been a massive shift in consciousness. Parenting, for one, has shifted. There's been so many people talking of gentle discipline and gentle parenting, positive parenting, and all these words that it's like most of it is common sense parenting. It's, do what feels right within the moment. treat your kids as you wish to be treated. But we were all parented by parents that didn't have a manual, because kids don't come with a manual. Humans don't come with a manual. We don't come with how to be human, how to be the perfect human. It doesn't exist. And actually, to answer that question, how to be the perfect human is to just show up. You're here, you're listening to this. Show up, be you. Follow that inner wisdom, that inner guidance, that intuition, that sort of like gut instinct that is within you. Follow that, not the hectic, manic, urgent, I need to do this and I need to do it yesterday. Not that thinking, not that noise, not that pressure. Follow that gentleness inside of you. And, when we do that, when we follow that, and we lead with compassion, we lead with love, starting with ourselves, that's when that continental shift in consciousness will happen. Because like I said earlier in this conversation, is that there is a connection between me and you and everybody. There is this oneness, there is this inseparableness to us. We are connected to the divine is connected to us, and there is no way of separating it. We, as the amazing human spiritual beings that we are, we can create the illusion of separation, but separation actually cannot happen. It looks like there's me here separate from you, and it's a really fun game to play. It's really fun being human. It's fun to go and meet some friends and go ice skating, and it's fun to see your family over Easter, and it's fun to go have a birthday party and celebrate birthdays, and it's fun to eat cake, and it's fun to, just do things and be human. Being human can be really, really fun. So none of this is not being human. Like I said, being a perfect human is showing up and being you, doing what makes sense to you moment to moment, and just continuously coming back and staying within this conversation for yourself. Because whatever you do from a space of love and compassion, genuine love and compassion, will serve the world. Because whatever's serving you, you are the world, it will serve the world. So I hope there was something helpful in today's conversation, video, whatever you want to call it. If you wish to join my WhatsApp group, my London WhatsApp group, if you're near London and not quite in London, but somewhat near it, you're also welcome to join. But otherwise, the idea of it being a London WhatsApp group is that we will have sort of monthly or bi-monthly meetups starting in May. This May 2024, but I'm sure it'll still be happening whenever you hear this video. But yeah, if it's not, just message me. You can email me. I'll put all the information below this video, so you can get in touch with me if you're interested in knowing more about what it is I do, and if you can work with me on a one-to-one basis if that's what you're interested in. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I will see you again next time. Thank you. Bye.